You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto, Ontario. This is Saamiyah Syed. Welcome to the show. Joining us shortly is Brother Omar Khan, the co-founder and CEO of Ruh, an Islamic Mindfulness and Contemplation app. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. Government to testify for using Emergencies Act. International students no longer capped with work limit. Edmonton mother of 3 fights deportation notice. Report says OPEC oil production cut to have muted impact. And now the details. A public inquiry will begin this Thursday in which Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will testify about the federal government's use of the Emergencies Act during the Freedom Convoy protests earlier this year. The government invoked the Emergencies Act on February 14, allowing the police extra powers to clear the blockade in downtown Ottawa and at several border crossings. The banks were also ordered to freeze the accounts of some of the people involved in the protests. The decision to impose the Emergencies Act came after 3 weeks of protests. The protesters demanded an end to COVID-19 vaccine mandates and, in some instances, the end to Trudeau's government. Immigration Minister Sean Fraser told reporters near Ottawa University that full-time international students will no longer be bound to work for 20 hours per week. Effective November 15, the temporary change will remain in place until the end of next year. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada is also introducing a new pilot program to help automate the application process for extending these student permits. Fraser says the pilot program is meant to reduce immigration backlogs. Migrant Students United says that the announcement is a direct result of years of tireless organizing by current and former international students. Advocates in Edmonton are fighting against a deportation notice issued to a mother of 3 Canadian-born children, all aged below 4, reports a media source. Halima Abdi allegedly escaped the ethnic cleansing of Somalis in Kenya, entering Canada in February 2017. Abdi's refugee claim was rejected by Canadian immigration authorities. After marrying a former friend in 2018, she filed a spousal application. She was ordered to return to Kenya in June this year, leaving behind her children. Dania Noor, president of the African Canadian Civic Engagement Council, says that she should be allowed to stay in Canada for the well-being of her children until her application is processed. Noor is helping Abdi get legal representation. Global ratings agency Fitch Ratings says that the decision by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and Allies, known as OPEC+, to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day starting November will have a muted impact on the global oil market. Fitch says Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates will have to make the largest actual cuts in oil production, while many other OPEC countries will have some quotas to increase production. The agency expects price volatility to remain high in the global oil market due to geopolitical factors, such as additional Western sanctions on Russian oil exports and an agreement on the Iran nuclear deal. And that's it for the news. Now, there is a new up-and-coming meditation app for Canadian Muslims. Ruh provides mindful practices that are embedded in the Islamic tradition to help the mental well-being of its users. To tell us more about the app today is Brother Omar Khan, the co-founder and CEO of Ruh. Welcome, Brother Omar, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Assalamu alaikum. My pleasure to be here.
Walaikum assalam. Brother Omar, I very briefly went over the app, but tell me more. What features exactly does this app include?
So Ruh, in a nutshell, is a mindfulness and contemplation app designed specifically with Islam as the core. So we integrate Islam and psychology together. And the features specifically, we have contemplation sessions that can help inshallah reflect, reframe your thoughts from both an Islamic lens and a psychology lens. So we have content, for example, for relieving stress, reducing anxiety, forgiveness. And also on the spiritual side, we have contemplation sessions for increasing your khushu in your prayer. So we reflect on the names of Allah and Surah Al-Fatiha. And, there's many exercises like that. We also have breathing exercises that can help you, inshallah, relax and calm down, de-stress and ground yourself. We also have nature soundscapes to help you connect better with nature and, listen to something calming, relaxing, instead of you listen to music while you're working or studying as well. So there's something to benefit for everyone at all different levels of practice, and faith as well.
And from what I understand, all of these features are free?
So right now it is free because we are still pre-launch. We haven't officially launched yet. So this is the best time for anyone to go download the app on the App Store or the Play Store because it is fully free. And inshallah, once we launch, we might add a subscription just to make the app sustainable long term. But right now it's fully free for everyone to benefit from.
Now, where exactly did you get this idea to make such an app as Ruh?
So honestly, it's really started from our own personal needs as a team. Like many of us in the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, we went through our own mental health challenges. I personally got hit with social isolation, was going through my challenges and wanted to find something that I could cope with. And so that's when I turned towards meditation and started looking into the space. And I used Headspace. Headspace is one of the more popular meditation apps. And I benefited from the content, but it didn't fully connect. There was always something missing. And so I started reaching out to people in the mental health space. I spoke with Imam Yasin Dawar, who is the chaplain at the University of Toronto. We spoke, he connected me with people in the Muslim mental health space, with Nasiha. And I quickly realized there's nothing that existed, a technology solution that is accessible to Muslims anywhere. And so that's when we kind of like put a team together. Alhamdulillah, now we have a team of psychologists, psychotherapists on the team, Dr. Farah Islam from Yaqeen Institute and more, kind of like, and also working with content partners to build that. So really it started from our own needs, and alhamdulillah, now we're building it for the community to solve everyone's needs.
And that's how almost all great initiatives start. Now, who exactly is this app meant for, and how age-friendly is it?
So it is really meant for everyone to benefit from. So, CAMH, one of the leading mental health hospitals in Canada, they talk about how every 1 in 5 Canadians will experience mental illness. But really, when it comes to it, like, it's one-on-one, right? Like, everyone has mental health. If you're thinking, you have a brain, you have mental health. And we are all going through our ups and downs in our daily lives. And so for Ruh, you don't really have to come to it when you're sad. We definitely have, or when you're going through challenges, because we definitely have, content for reducing stress, anxiety, and things like that to help you cope with things at the time. But we also have content to help you get better and, more on the prevention side. So you're more resilient. So you can even come to us when you're happy, and we would love to have you when you're happy as well, and be part of the joy and inshallah build on it. So our goal really is to also like be on the preventative side, build your resilience. So you have the tools, the techniques, both from an Islamic lens and a psychology lens to cope up with challenges better when it comes to it. So it is really accessible for anyone and everyone, students, professionals, everyone, like everyday users.
Now, Ruh is unique in that it unpacks each topic and, as you said, ties it almost directly to Islam. But how is this done? What are some of those teachings of Islam that are being incorporated?
For sure. So in the app, you will see this content for, like I mentioned a couple of times now, like reducing stress, anxiety. So typically speaking, in psychology, there's different tools and techniques or interventions that are used in actual psychotherapy. But what we do is kind of take from that, and we also integrate content from Islam. We have ayahs, Quran you can recite for when you're feeling stressed or anxious. We have du'as as well. So what we do is kind of integrate to help you benefit from both worlds. And so in the sessions, you'll find, we'll have some psychoeducation, essentially teaching you what is stress. So you know exactly how to cope with it. You can see this, recognize the signs and symptoms. Then we teach you how do you use dua to inshallah help cope with it. And then we have progressive muscle relaxation from psychology again to help you reduce it at the time. So that's like an example of how we kind of like mix the two fields together. And maybe I can add a bit more to the high level difference, and meditation in general. Secular meditation, or like the Buddhist meditation, Hindu meditation, like there's a lot of different traditions. And generally speaking, it's about being non-judgmental, being aware in the present moment, which is all good, but it really kind of like comes to you and ends at the person. But in Islamic contemplation, like the goal really is to connect to Allah. That's the end goal. It's not just about us. It's really to connect better with Allah, so we can be better Muslims, so we can contemplate and reflect on the creation of Allah, so we can be more mindful of Him, So that's inshallah, the big difference is that the end goal is totally different in this case.
Mm-hmm. Now, you briefly mentioned some of the people that were involved in narrating the tracks already, but can you say some more on it? Who are these people that we're hearing from?
So alhamdulillah, we work with professional therapists, psychotherapists. My co-founder, she's a psychotherapist herself. So she has been working on the content side. We also have Dr. Farah Islam as part of the team. She's one of the directors of psychospiritual studies at Deportation Institute. So she has written an amazing series as well. So we have authors that are writing different topics on that are their expertise areas. So we also work with other Dr. Jinan Yusuf, for example, the authors of the Names of Allah book. So she wrote a series on reflecting on the names of Allah in Surah Al-Fatiha. And so we work and collaborate with partners that can help inshallah write these series. And then we produce the recordings in-house with Imam Yassin Duar. So Imam Yassin Duar, he is the chaplain at the University of Toronto. He is part of the team. He's an advisor for us. He has a beautiful, soothing voice, mashallah. And so he is the one that is recording these narrations. And that kind of all comes together in the app.
Now, Ruh is a fairly new and recent initiative, so I'm sure you have plans to grow. But can you share with me that next step or expansion for Ruh?
Absolutely. So yeah, it is a recent initiative. The app is public, so we can benefit from it right now. But we're officially planning to launch in a couple of weeks, inshallah. But a lot of times when we are in in-person events, like the booth at a convention and a conference, or a bazaar in a masjid, people come to us and ask us this question all the time: do you connect us with a Muslim therapist in the app? And sometimes it even comes multiple times a day. And when you really think about that, a lot of times we talk about getting mental health support and finding a therapist, but how do you really find a therapist? A lot of times speakers, when they're talking about it in events, they might point you to a directory here and there for different areas, but there's no one answer. So it is tough right now to find a Muslim therapist to work with. So we're very excited to announce, alhamdulillah, for the very first time, you're hearing it first in the Canadian Muslim news, that we're building a global Muslim directory that can help you, inshallah, find a therapist that is aligned with your values. So it's going to be called Ruh Care. And the idea is to really help you personalize that experience. So, you can filter based on, let's say, ethnicity or language, or even, especially in this case, on the sect of the person. Maybe you're Sunni, maybe you're Shia, and you want to find someone that's aligned with your path. And inshallah, we'll help you do that. So it's kind of like unifying all the Muslims around the world in one platform to get therapy from and also provide therapy. So inshallah, that's something very exciting, alhamdulillah, that we're planning to launch. It's actually ready right now. So if you're a therapist watching this, you can actually go to the website ruhcare.com and register yourself. And for clients, inshallah, we'll be launching it with the app in a couple of weeks. And this is the best part of it all, that it is going to be free, inshallah, for the community. So for therapists to get listed, it will be free. We'll have premium features for them, but the basic listing will be free. And then for clients as well, to find someone, it will be free. It's really as a gift from us to the community, inshallah.
Mm-hmm. I love that initiative. Thank you so much, Brother Omar, for coming on to the show and sharing us more about Ruh and this new Ruh Care. Sounds very exciting and definitely needed in today's day and age, where there is a focus on mental health and improving it, but not so much the resources to help support us. So thank you so much for all your work and your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
You are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. That's it from our Toronto studios tonight. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Canadian Muslim content. Stay safe, and until next time.